Hey everyone, Mike here. Hope everyone's doing well. So I've shared several videos with the user audience, flight videos, and today I'm going to share something a little bit different. It's going to be a video about what happened on the ground. So, and this was actually a mistake I made as a pilot, and what I'm hoping is to be able to show this and highlight it so that other fellow pilots that are watching these videos can avoid a similar mistake and avoid the cost of what happened to me. So you can see in the background I've got my TBM 910 here. We're in Hayward, California, and you can see the green sign in the window that says the brakes are off. Very important when you land an airplane, and especially in an FBO and they tow it. Typically when you do the shutdown you have the brakes on. I landed, left the brakes on, and left, didn't put the placard in the window. They towed the airplane, and a fairly small turboprop like this, are used to towing big jets, will move. The brakes had continuous friction until they got so hot that the metal warped, and bang, the brakes locked up. So that's what happened to me on the TBM about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Had to get it repaired. I'll tell you later in the video what it cost and what we had to do to get it done. But you can see now I have the placard in the window, and I request that each of you put it on your checklist and make sure you do the same. So here you can see the TBM panel, and you can see where that brake button is. With that little lever up, the brakes are on, are off, and when I turn it to the right and push on the brakes and lock them, they are locked down. So as you can see, pretty hard to see when they're on or when they're off, and actually when you close the door it's impossible almost for the ground staff to see. So that's the lever on the TBM, and as you know, the brakes are down here on the rudder pedal. You can see you push on the top here, and that's the braking mechanism for the airplane. So let's have a walk around the TBM and talk about the brake assembly. So as you can see, on the two main gears is where the brake assembly sits. The front gear is really just used for the towing. Here's a good example of a small plane being towed by a large tow, and again, it's using the front gear. Now, accidents happen all the time with towing. Here's a great example of a tow hitting a truck, and here's another example of a fire just happening in the brake from overheating. This is what my TBM brake assembly is supposed to look like. It's a Cleveland brake assembly. It's supposed to be kind of gold silver color, and there's not supposed to be any burnt markings. This is what I found after the tugging incident. Fluid all over the place and a black burned out brake assembly. So what did we have to do? We had to basically take this brake assembly, the burnt one, as you can see here, black markings everywhere, and we had to take the plane and we had to basically crank it up and take the tires off just like we do on a car. So here's the process we went through. So after we jacked up the plane, we basically took off all the wheels, inspected the entire brake assembly, lines all the way, and started to just take a look at what was broken and needed to be replaced.
And one thing tools like this are great for is disassembly, not so much for reassembly.
Yeah. You need help on both sides.
Yeah. We'll look at the color of the other brake just in comparison. The other thing too, you can see the blistering damage right here on the label itself. The bigger thing though is the heat damage on this side.
And that's this here, right?
The ring that you can kind of see around here where the tempering of the metal actually changed.
So it did warp then.
Yes, and this is what you can really see is this is supposed to spin freely, and you get to here and it just locks up.
And that's what happened, right? So what happened is it started moving normal, and it just kept going until it got heated, started to warp, and then it cramped up, and that's when the guys who were towing it said, hey this isn't working.
And at that point noticed smoke coming off of the unit.
Well, that's not good.
It's the warpage of the rotor where it's toast. And I don't know if there's going to be core value.
Do we have those?
Yeah, do we have
wipers?
The wipers, I don't know.
Or the dust thing?
We'll probably...
So we were able to replace one brake assembly and fix the seals and wipers in the other and get it back on the plane. $13,000 later, everything is fixed, and obviously one big lesson for everybody here, and here it is. On the other side, I've got brakes are on, and here brakes are off. Part of my checklist. Many pilots use this. Do not forget it.